Ever since I gave birth a few months ago, so I have 4 kids total, my mother-in-law's been showing up whenever she wants. When she's here, she always helps herself to anything she wants. She's never offered to help me or the baby in any way, shape, or form. She's basically here to see her son, and that's it. For example, about 3 weeks ago, I made a small pot of coffee, enough for 2 cups. I went to nurse the baby while waiting, and at some point, my mother-in-law showed up and let herself in. When I came out, she had drunk the entire pot. I had no coffee grounds left, or she'd eaten my leftovers straight out of the fridge multiple times. And she's always like, "Thanks for the food and coffee," as if I've offered it to her, when I absolutely didn't, because all she's doing is making my life miserable. I told my husband to speak to her about it, and he told me he did, but I truly don't think so. I spoke up the last time she was here, 3 weeks ago, and told her she needed to stop helping herself because she was eating and drinking stuff that I wanted and/or had made for myself. She said, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then stopped coming around for a while. Well, today I made 4 homemade pizzas. I told the kids to come help themselves to dinner and that I had to go get the baby down for a nap real quick and would be right back. Well, it took about 45 minutes because the baby was fussy. She had just had shots. When I came back out, all the pizza was gone, and my mother-in-law and husband were sitting there chowing away. I just said, "Are you kidding me right now?" My husband asked what was going on, and I said, "You guys couldn't even leave me a darn slice? Sure, let's feed the darn neighborhood before I even get to eat. That's so awesome of you guys, thanks," and start to walk off. My oldest son, a young teen, comes in and he's like, "Mom, I left you out a plate. I put it right on the counter," and walks over to grab it. And lo and behold, that's gone too. Mother-in-law said, "I thought it was leftover from dinner." So my son apologized to me, even though he did nothing wrong. But my mother-in-law and husband just stood there. They literally aren't saying anything. So I looked at both of them and said, "You both need to leave now." My husband then decided to speak, saying it was an honest mistake and that no one meant any harm, and said I was making a mound out of a molehill, which honestly just made me angrier. So I snapped again and said, "Yeah, except every time your darn mother comes here, I end up going without because she eats and drinks my portion of everything. But sure, let's defend someone taking food out of our mouth, shall we?" His mother just storms out of the house, and my husband looks at me like I'm insane. So I say, "Quick, chase her," and walk out. My husband thinks I'm darn mental and that this all could have been resolved if I had acted like an adult. He won't come home. But at this point, I don't even want him to come home because it means his mother will stay anyway. Am I the idiot for flipping out on my mother-in-law and husband? Not the idiot. Your husband is an idiot and is enabling his mother, who's 100% doing this intentionally. I bet your son has clocked this, and that's why he tried to save you a plate. He sounds very sweet, by the way. I don't blame you for not wanting your husband to come home. Sounds like your life is easier without him there. OP's husband, "My mommy can do no wrong. Why is my wife so selfish? She can't share her food with my mommy. Wah." I feel so bad for that kid. Don't worry, Mom, I saved. Oh, nope, not on Grandma's watch. A child has more empathy, intelligence, and observation skills than 2 adults. As proud as I am of that kid, seriously, what is wrong with the dad and his mom? OP's raising a better man than the one she's married to. My favorite part is when he runs to Mommy's, leaving his wife with all the kids and no food. He ran to Mommy's after telling her to act like an adult. They're both infuriating. What husband is okay with his wife going hungry? Especially when she needs strength and nourishment to raise his children. He's a disgrace. It's kind of nice without him home, isn't it? I was just thinking this. Like, I wonder how much she's enjoying having one less child to manage. Your husband is complicit and his mother's ensuring that you don't get to eat. Don't you find it odd that everyone but you, specifically, gets to eat? That you'll only eat your portion? And let me guess, your husband doesn't cook either. People like to jump to divorce, but this is divorce-worthy. I, 36 male, have 2 kids, a female teen and a young male teen from a previous marriage. My ex, 34 female, and I share custody, but because she lives in a better school district, she primarily has them during the school year, and I get extended time with them during the summer. For the past 45 years, I've taken the kids on a fun summer road trip. The three of us plan a destination and pick things we want to see on the way there and back. It's been a great bonding experience and a lot of fun. Last year, I let each kid bring one friend along on the trip, and I'm doing the same thing this year. We're planning on leaving for the trip next weekend. My son is an outgoing, gregarious kid, involved in multiple sports, and has a long list of close friends. On the other hand, my daughter is very much an introvert and only has a few friends I know of. The friend she brought with us last year is definitely her closest friend. She was planning on bringing the same girl on our trip this year. Unfortunately, my daughter's friend had a fall a couple of weeks ago while riding her bike and broke her leg and collarbone. Obviously, she would be very uncomfortable sitting in a car for long periods, and there are stops on our trip where she would be unable to participate in the activities we want to do. There are also a couple of places we planned on camping, and I just don't think it'll work for her. My daughter says her friend still wants to come with her, and her parents are okay with it, but I don't think it's a good idea. I suggested that my daughter invite a different friend, but she says she doesn't have anyone else she wants to ask. I might have messed up, but I went behind her back and talked about it with her friend's parents. I expressed my concerns about their daughter coming on the trip, and I guess the two girls didn't give them a complete rundown of the activities we'd planned. After our conversation, they agreed it would probably be best for their daughter to stay home. As you can imagine, my daughter did not take this news well. She's very angry with me and thinks I sabotaged her friend coming with us on purpose. She's been begging me to cancel or change some of our plans so that her friend can still come with. I told her that both her friend's parents and I agreed that her friend coming with us wasn't a good idea, so this wasn't just my decision. She says she won't come on the trip if her friend can't come. I do feel bad about the whole thing, but at this point, I don't think there's much else I could do to make this work. I could alter the plans to make things easier for her friend, but with how limited her mobility will be, that probably wouldn't be much fun for everyone else. My ex thinks I should do whatever it takes to get my daughter back on board so that she isn't excluded, but that just isn't realistic. I'm also worried that this will be the last year this sort of trip happens because summers get busy for teenagers. Not the idiot. Your daughter lied and manipulated this other girl's parents into agreeing to something they wouldn't have supported. Actions have consequences, and your daughter's being unreasonable. Threatening to not come unless you give in is a tantrum tactic, and your daughter's trying to emotionally manipulate you. This is a great time to explain to your daughter that you didn't sneak behind her back any more than she and her friend did with her friend's parents. They weren't as honest with the friend's parents about the nature of the trip's activities, so they were sneaky themselves. And that would have put the friend at risk for re-injuring themselves on top of it, making you responsible. You don't want to sign up for that risk, which is acceptable, and your daughter needs to learn that. Your ex should also agree with you on this, based on your daughter not being truthful with her friend's parents, not to mention the genuine possibility of the child throwing a clot. Nope. The trip is off as punishment for the daughter's manipulation attempt, and time for a parent-to-parent chat to make sure all are on the same page. OP should explain the health concerns to his daughter and kindly say that if she wants to stay with her recuperating friend, he'd understand, so they'll do something together some other time. My parents' daughter is a girl whom I once considered my sister. My best friend was engaged to my parents' daughter. He loved her dearly. She was his first girlfriend and his first love. He was like a brother to me and a second son to my parents. They were happy when they started dating, and even happier when they got engaged. The happiness only lasted a few months because his fiancée was having an affair with his brother. When she broke it off, his brother told him everything. They were having an affair way before he even got engaged. My friend didn't take the news well. He was more hurt that his fiancée had an affair with his brother instead of a random stranger. He didn't have the best relationship with his brother anyway, which was another betrayal. He couldn't cope well, and I guess this pushed him over the edge. I blame my sister And I blame his brother. His brother was rightfully disowned by his family, but my parents kept in contact with their daughter. I already hated my parents' daughter when I found out she cheated on my friend, but I absolutely hated her when he killed himself because of it. It's almost been a year since he died, and my parents keep trying to get me to talk to their daughter because she's not coping well and needs all the love and support she can get. I told them that I didn't give a darn what she was going through and that they could leave me out of it. They didn't take this well and started arguing with me. I tried to stay calm, but they kept insisting I talk to her. So I told them that if they kept trying to get me to talk to their daughter, they'd be dead to me too. I told them that I couldn't care less what they do with her, but don't bring her crap to me. And I left it at that. This caused my parents to cry, and my mom told me that she was trying to get the family back together and that my sister made a mistake, but I couldn't fault her for my friend dying because of it. Am I the idiot? Did I go too far? Edit. My friend was 22, I was 21, and my sister was 24. They were dating for 5 years at the time. Not the idiot. What I find curious is that your parents are trying to get you to talk to her because she's not coping well and she needs all the love and support she can get. What about you? You lost your best friend. Have they bothered to ask you how you're coping? Have they asked people you can trust to show you love and support? Or do they only extend that sort of grace to the girl who cheated on her fiancé with his brother, resulting in all this drama to begin with? I don't think you're wrong to not want to support your parents' other kid. I honestly don't. I adore my siblings, and it would take an act of Congress for me to hate them, but man, if one of them did to my best friend what yours did, that would be a no for me too, dog. Do your parents comprehend the fact that you're grieving? Because it sure as heck doesn't sound like it. I'm sure your sister does feel like crap about herself, and she should, but that doesn't mean that she's owed your forgiveness. You're hurting too. I'm very sorry for your loss, OP. My boyfriend, 35, works overnight, and every morning between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. when he's off, I, 24 female, am asked to leave the room so he can rest well. Am I selfish for not wanting to leave the bedroom when he comes in from work? He says I'm being selfish whenever I don't leave the room. He says sleeping beside him makes the room extremely hot and that my movements wake him up. But sleeping out in the living room for another few hours is uncomfortable, and I hate it. It's extremely brighter than our room, as our bed has blackout curtains. The couch isn't big enough to lay on. It's technically a love seat, and the floor is way too hard on my body. We own air mattresses that I could sleep on, but we also have a cat that would pop that baby in an instant. We also talked about buying a couch, but he's not willing to contribute to it because I'm the one who wants it. So what do I do in this situation? I feel it's unfair that I constantly have to sacrifice only 5 to 6 hours of sleep for myself so that he can have a peaceful 8 hours. Am I wrong in this situation? If so, how should I proceed? And you live with this person? That's not a boyfriend, not even a little bit. This is unhinged behavior on his part, LOL. Why did he even want to move in? LOL. He should live alone if he can't share a bed. You should find someone who loves and respects you, unlike this clown you're currently with. Yeah, it's incredibly selfish to not even want to compromise on a better couch or something to sleep on if he can't share the bed. I mean, who the heck doesn't ensure their partner has a place to sleep in the first place? Complete lack of sympathy for the situation they're in, where only one of the two is accommodating to meet the other person's wants and needs. They need to work together on this. No, they don't need to work together on this. She needs to dump his butt. And I'm usually not one of those people who jump to this conclusion fast. My brain cannot even compute how he can make himself believe it's fine to kick out his girlfriend in the middle of the night because apparently his sleep is more important than hers. But similarly, buying a bigger couch should be entirely on her because that's not a him problem, even though he's the sole cause of the problem. That is next level of egotistical behavior. I'm speechless. Why she's complying with his ridiculous demands is beyond me. Look at the age difference. He's 35 and so immature. He's dating a 24-year-old who's clearly more mature than he is. OP, you are not the idiot. Your boyfriend is a selfish moron and won't change. Walk away. I, 30 female, have 2 daughters and am pregnant with my 3rd girl. We just found out this morning. On the drive to my husband's mother's house, he explained how he was a bit disappointed about having a girl, but then he said, I should have expected this because you have 3 sisters. I explained that my having 3 sisters has nothing to do with the gender of our child. He said it's genetics, and I'm the reason for our daughters. I told him that's not how biology works. He said it is. He then explained that his mom only has brothers, and his 2 oldest brothers both have 2 sons because of his mom's side. I told him that didn't make any sense because it should be the same for him then. He said no, because both of their wives have more brothers than sisters. He was getting frustrated, but I was just laughing at him. I explained that he and his oldest 2 brothers have different dads, but out of his dad's 8 kids, 3 are boys and 5 are girls. The men determine the gender. He said that wasn't true because the kids his dad had with his mom were all boys. He dropped it and said he'd ask his mom, who has a degree and teaches biology. So we get to his parents' house for brunch, and he asks his mom if I'm the reason we keep having girls. She tells him bluntly that men determine the gender, and it's actually not a 50-50 chance. She then goes on to explain that the more of one gender you have, the higher the chances that your next child is also going to be that gender. So he asked if it was likely that he'd have a boy. She told him that if he kept trying, it might happen. He just walked to the car and said he was going for a drive. I received a text from him saying that I didn't have to embarrass him like that. I was so confused. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You might want to give that man access to the internet so he can do some research, and you can send his mom flowers, LOL. As a bio teacher, she must be embarrassed that her son didn't learn basic biology. Right? I learned this in the 9th grade. Genetics is always a game of chance. For example, a biologist can give birth to an idiot. I personally enjoyed how he blamed OP for embarrassing him when he was the one who asked his mom. OP tried to explain it to him, so he didn't have to ask, but he refused facts. He embarrassed himself. I don't understand why he didn't Google it at the moment versus asking mommy. He wanted his mom with a biology degree to prove him right and make OP look like she was uninformed. He wanted the ego boost of being right. He's an idiot because his wife is currently pregnant, and he's already talking about the next one. That poor girl, she's not even there yet, and he's already writing her off. My aunt had 5 girls. Fortunately, my uncle wasn't an idiot and adored his girls. OP, please don't keep having kids just because he wants a boy. Only have more kids if you want to have another daughter, because chances are that's what you'll get.